actually you have to go back up. There's cross X after you.
Huh?
You have to stand by the
Oh,
computer.
never mind, sorry.
Oh,
I have coffee. I was
Yeah.
thinking.
Oh,
Okay, sorry.
You're good.
I didn't catch it either, so.
Okay, I now stand open for cross-examination. Sorry, guys.
Judge ready? And that's your mind.
Pretty good, pretty good. How are you?
Okay. So, I have a few questions for you. I noticed that in your
out of the government, completely eradicating it, it would then be catastrophic. It would set the government all crazy, and it would make for difficult trials and stuff like that. They also, I saw that they had no advocates that they presented in their 1AC. This is a very big point because their plan has no advocates, therefore they're the only ones supporting it, and that is kind of, I would not vote for that if only 2 people were supporting that. Also, just a reminder, I would also love to hear any evidence that shows an increase of just the exclusionary rule primary. And with that, I'm now done.
I have, recommending 30-second comments, please. No further recommendation. Is the time right? Yep. So the first language speaker brought up in his speech that there is no evidence to say that the exclusionary rule doesn't deter police
crazy, like,